So it's June 6, 2023. I've just vacuumed off the mouse business off the counter after I cleared it and sanitized it and gave it a light scouring with a Scotch-Brite pen. Let's see what we got going in here. I am not going to be hanging out outside, so I decided not to finish that on the rocket stove. I already picked up the chicken a little bit. I was hungry. But this is going to be dinner and lunch and dinner and all sorts of good things. After I got into town about a week and a half ago, I loaded the fridge with some stuff. And I got a whole bunch of these chickens for $1.50 a pound. And there's some, I got my cat food in there, some of it. And these are cuts of beef brisket. And this is for some soda floats. I like to make my soda at home lacto fermented, but I got mouse. I didn't have any space for it. I did get some ginger to get some of that going soon. But I mostly just wanted to catch up before the prep of this countertop. I'm going to smooth this out a little bit, but not too much because I have, I think this is from, these specific holes are from my meat grinder. And I don't have a whole lot of clearance to do a whole lot, but just these corners right here I'm going to smooth out. And I'm going to pull this dishwasher out. This is my nasty, messed up, broken dishwasher that has, I've never actually been able to use this because the garbage disposal that was in here wasn't winterized, and it was kind of required for the drain. So this side of the sink has always not drained. It's always had to get bailed out, and I couldn't use the dishwasher. And then it was finally killed in a storm. So I'm not sure how much sanding I'm going to do on this plywood. What I think I am going to do is I am going to maybe fill these little knots in because I want a smooth surface to keep clean. So I might do a little bit of filling on this. I'm going to do some primer. Some of this, I don't know, I'm really not convinced how much. This is the sealer on it that I had. I just had like some stuff on it. Well, some of it, there was stuff on it, and then I put the sealer over top of it, and it's been a bit of a mess. But, you know, it's quite bad. I just added some deck stain and some kills on top of this that I had left over from another project. So this is going to be going on here after it's all ready to go. I just wanted to get a nice, you know, clear shot. So the stuff that I put on there does help protect this plywood from moisture a little bit. But again, I'm not too keen to put a countertop on this. There are some white tiles in the garage, and I think that their plan was to tile this countertop. I'm going to have to figure out how to work around my little contraption mounting area. I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. Whether I should just do it over it and just deal with the cracks, I'm not really sure. But this is just the before. And I'm going to see how it goes. I'm going to see how much coverage I can get with one of these kits. And it's about $42 for one of these kits. They do have this in white as well. I'm not sure if they have more colors available online, but I wanted to do my cabinets in sort of a country white later, and I don't want them to be the same color. I know some people like that look, but the walls in here are eventually going to be some shade of gray instead of this milk tea, milk coffee color. You know, they used to have a sign up here. There was like a stick-on sticker that said like it's coffee time or something like that. So they the coffee color was definitely a personal choice of somebody at some point in time, and it's going to take quite a bit to undo because I need to get into all these nooks. Eventually I'm going to have built-in shelves and put some doors on these, and maybe one day it'll get trimmed out. I'm mostly going for functionality and utility right now. Pardon my crazy disaster. But in the meantime, at least I'll have a sanitized surface. I need to get in the habit of not setting anything on here because I am going to just see what I think and whether or not I just want to spring for another $42 package of this stuff. Mostly just want a cleanable surface, and I'm just going to do kind of a little bit of a close-up of the sink that, you know, and does need to be scoured and get the iron out and the sediment out and all that. But I'm eventually going to be redoing this sink, okay? And it's going to be part of an outside sort of kitchen sink setup. I think it's funny that they don't even have the color on this except for printed on the bottom of the can. Anyways, I'm excited, y'all. I just wanted to make sure I took this video before I do any more work to this. Okay, take it easy. So I've just taken some painter's tape here to kind of rough hand in how I'm going to cut this countertop to smooth out these corners. You know, I do also want this countertop to be young people friendly in case I decide not to change it in the future, and maybe I'll be blessed enough one day to have some grandbabies running around here. And then this one, I had thought about just doing a straight edge out, but I wanted to curve it around so that I could cut out this kind of like not good little piece here. So I've charged up my DeWalt battery, which, by the way, there was actually a charge left on this after having sat in an unheated house for 2 years. So I was pretty impressed by that, but I got this tool specifically to help me with some deck issues I had. Now, I wouldn't necessarily ever recommend anybody to do things the way I do things, but this property is not intended to be sold. It's intended to be kept in the family for a very long time. We actually want to try to figure out, my daughter and I, how to save up enough money to buy the field next door because she wants to raise sheep. So I don't know if I can do this with one hand, guys, because I'm holding my tablet in the other one. Might have to, so I can actually change the angle of this thing, but instead of cutting straight down, which is what I may end up having to do, I was hoping I could cut it at an angle. Oh, that's smoking. So I'm not going to cut it all the way through just yet. I'm just trying to give myself the guideline right now. This tool is actually very handy. You can get all sorts of different little thingamabobbers for it, including like paint scrapers and stuff. Some people would say, lady, you need to be using a jigsaw for that. But the thing is that, I mean, I guess maybe I can take out this thing. Wow, see, even my drawers got mouse. I gotta sanitize everything. It's a disaster. But I don't even have a jigsaw here. So this is what I have. I have this, and I have hand saws. So this is what it's going to be. But, you know, I'm just going to go ahead and set this down so that I don't bugger this up. But I just wanted to show you guys real quick. Well, I don't know, maybe let's give it a go. Let's see what we can do here. Smoking. The one thing about this blade is it will flex, so I will have to go back and clean up to make sure. Like the thing is like even if I wanted to like cut it like this so that it wasn't just an up and down line, but that it was like angled, I could do basically whatever the heck I feel like, but this is just what it is right now. Probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut it in chunks because I'm not going to be able to do one straight run. But anyways, I'm gonna set this down so I can use both hands, y'all, and then we'll see how the rest of this goes. So when I started my video before, I didn't expect to be doing a tutorial for this process, but as I'm getting going, I decided I would talk a little bit more about this. So far, I've only covered or cut off a couple of small pieces there, and then I made my guideline. However, I noticed that this is not the line that I wanted. So I pulled my tape back, did another little masking, a little painter's tape to do a new guideline, because this is plywood, and if I was to cut all the way through with this oscillating tool, it would actually be pretty hard for me to just take off that sliver after I've just cut that whole thing through, because this blade on the end here, it is flexible, which can be a good thing, a beneficial thing, and a bad thing. Now, even though I'm using this because I don't have a jigsaw, I'm happy I'm using this, because what I can do with this is I can, when I'm making my guideline, I can just put it at an angle and put just the little corner of this blade in at an angle, however deep or shallow I want, and just slowly work it in the shape that I want. And that's giving me a shape that my blade here is gonna, my tool is gonna be able to follow as I cut it off. Now, if any of you decide to actually try doing this yourself, after maybe, you know, this project will actually turn out halfway decent, when you do your initial guideline taping, you want to make sure to have it be to initially maybe err towards taking less off than more, because obviously you can't add just a little bit of the wood back on. So here we go. I've cut one more thing in through here so that this piece will come off, and just to make this seem more accessible to people, okay, although I'm not necessarily recommending you do things this way, I'm going to go ahead and just keep cutting on here for a little while now that I have my guideline on here, so that you know that this is not like rocket science, okay? So I'm just gonna focus on taking in this one nub. And the fact that this blade is kind of flexible can kind of help me out here. I'm smoking again. Now I'm going to come down this way a little bit. Whoops. That walked. Holding this thing with just one hand is actually, while I'm holding my tablet with the other hand to take this video, is a little bit heavy actually over time, just with the one hand. Now, I don't want to end up breaking the plywood and making it too messy down there, like breaking off a big chunk, since it's just plywood. So and even though I have just a little left to go, I'm not going to just bust it down. Whoops. Sorry, the one-handed thing is not... Okay. So there we go, you guys. Here's my little chunk. One-handed countertop oscillating tool sawing. So it's not rocket science. If I can do it, you can probably do it. I do have an automotive technologies background, so I'm maybe a little bit more crazy than some people, but we'll see how this process continues. So my little mini DeWalt battery that I have, it's the only one I have, and it ran out of charge, so it's on the charger right now. So I only really started on this one and got my guide line in over here and got this one done. You know, if I didn't want to keep all this space for mounting different kitchen gadgets, I would have, sorry, that was a mosquito. I'm getting kind of attacked by them right now. I would have shaped this differently, you know, but like when I actually get my meat grinder out, depending on how this looks, like maybe I'll change it, but I think, and just make this like a smoother line, you know, but I think it's like, it's okay. We'll see. I don't want to cut it too close to the edge here, but it could maybe change. Ooh, I'm getting bit up. But I just wanted to show you guys this. Now I am gonna have to get under there and like smooth that stuff out. Now for me, with my oscillating tool, to just try to take this little rough nub off, it could really go south for me. So if you get little nubs like that, I would recommend you to instead consider getting out a sanding block, which is what I'm probably going to do later. And then since I am going to be painting the sides of this with my epoxy paint, when I fill in those knots on the top, I'm going to go ahead and fill in this gap right here as well, so that I can have a smooth countertop corner. Because I must say, I wanted to not just like look decent, but I mostly, my priority here is being able to have a counter that is easy to clean, that I can use as much water and soap and things on as I want, and that looks clean when it is clean. So that's kind of what I'm going for here, and I will update you guys more later on in the process. So fortunately, it didn't take too long for my little battery to charge up for my DeWalt, and it was time for me to break for dinner anyways. But I just want to show you again what this looks like. I got this little nub done. Now, I don't have the primer that I need for this. I do have the sandpaper and stuff, because I'm going to hand sand this. Like, I'm not right here. I'm not entirely satisfied with this right here or with this right here. But I'm just going to hand sand that down a little bit. I'm going to have to get my primer at the hardware store when I go to pick up an online order here in the next couple days, and we'll see how that goes. I'm not sure, you know, with my automotive background, I have a temptation, like, I'm like, oh, I need some Bondo for that. But obviously that is not the appropriate choice for this. So I think I have some drywall, like wall putty stuff somewhere that I'm gonna locate and fill those in. And if I've got a scraper, I'm just gonna actually go over and maybe even try to fill in some different little gaps here, like this gap, this seam, because this is all one cabinet. I'm just gonna go ahead and fill this stuff in so that when I put this on, it's gonna be nice and smooth. And then some of this stuff, I mean, I don't know, I can't really deal with this too much because, again, I can't get the sink out because the little plastic nut underneath that holds on the faucet is broken. I broke it trying to get it off because it's basically cemented on from the hard water. So now I gotta get a torch down in there and just go to town and hope that there'll at least be some sort of nub left on the end of this that I'll be able to salvage this sink, dunk it in my tub of cleaning vinegar, and maybe be able to salvage it for my outdoor sink project. So it's got some light left outside. I'm going to go back out and till, but this was kind of my way to occupy just a little bit of time while I take a break from tilling. I'm probably going to have to just put together this part of the video of just this cutting the countertop and stuff, and I will post a separate video for the other parts of the process. Take it easy, y'all.